last year when they were desperate for starting pitching, but he's performed really well. Here's my weird question, among many weird questions. They lost so many games in April that they're going to be playing a lot of doubleheaders. They're going to be playing a lot of stretches without days off. Is there any way a six-man rotation could work?
Oh, I suppose so. I think, and Paul Molitor has done that before, or talked about the fact that he could if he wanted to do that. So I suppose that's definitely in the mix. The doubleheaders don't start lining up till much later. So I do think that it gives the Twins the luxury of not rushing Irvin back and taking any chances on hurting anything else. We saw what was up and has been up with Lance Lynn not getting any spring training, and with Alex Cobb not getting spring training. And I mean, there are examples all over baseball of pitchers that signed late and have just struggled like mad. And that's why, I mean, there were two things in my mind way back when Santana got hurt and they said, well, he'll be back in May. And I said, as you just said, I mean, there's no physical way. There's no way that's going to happen because he's recovering from surgery on a knuckle. And once the doctors give him okay to start working that knuckle back into hand shape, gripping a ball and being able to have the confidence and the physical ability to throw, especially the slider that's so important to him, then he's going to have to get his arms and legs in shape and have a spring training. And to think at his age that he's just going to, I'm throwing now. I've had 3 bullpens and a couple of starts in Florida. I'm ready. I mean, I just think that's craziness. If Romero keeps pitching well, or if all 5 starters are, doing fairly well, I think it gives you the luxury of just having Irvin, pitch till you're ready. When you feel like you've got your Irvin Santana stuff, then we'll make a decision.
Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned closer earlier. Obviously, Fernando Rodney is a short-term solution. Hildenberger did well when given the opportunity last year. Do you see a future closer on this staff or in the organization right now?
I don't know enough about the other people in the organization, not here. I mean, we saw John Curtis. He's got pretty good stuff, but it didn't look yet. It hasn't looked dominating, even close to dominating. I don't see a closer yet.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't think. I think Hildenberger is a nice addition to the bullpen. I don't think he's a closer. Mm-hmm. Not for any other reason than I think it's his stuff, his trick stuff, not punishing stuff. And I think you got to be a little more punishing as a closer. That's just my own bias. Now, Jeff Jones was a terrific closer for a long time. With the same with similar stuff, but he had a little bit more fastball and he had the good changeup, and he was a fastball changeup guy. Dustin Hoffman was a fastball changeup guy for the most part, but a little bit more stuff than Hildenberger.
Hold, I'm gonna call you on something just because it reminded me of a really funny story. You said Dustin Hoffman. I think you meant Trevor Hoffman.
Oh, did I say Dustin Hoffman?
But that reminds me. Do you remember the great Bob Caseyism?
Oh, well.
I know. I have to be more. I know. I should,
which one?
Well, let me make sure I get it right. Now batting, playing right field. Oh God! Now the problem with podcasts is
you're being like Casey right now.
I know, but the funny is he says funny things, but they're hard to remember because they're so goofy. Dustin Moore comes up. He goes, now batting, Dustin Hoffman. Oh. Correction. Dustin, that's the thing. I can't remember the rest of the story. But he screwed it up. He called him Dustin Hoffman, then when he corrected, he screwed it up even more. But I can't remember how he screwed it up more the second time. Well, so I'll have to ask somebody what that story was.
What's interesting about that is that most of the mistakes he made were because he wrote down the lineup with just the last names, and then he'd forget their first names. And I mean, that was usually the problem. And one time out at the old Met, Gary Ward was playing left field, And he was a relatively young player at the time. He hadn't been up very long, and Case just absolutely forgot who it was. And he's going through the lineup, now batting, or in, shortstop, at third base, left field. And it's Gary Ward out there. His Ward's written down there. He goes, Montgomery, Ward.
That's exactly it. Okay, you know what? Now I remember. I'm mixing up two stories. Okay, story A is Dustin Moore came up to the plate and he said he introduced him as Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. Story 2 is Amos Otis comes up as a visiting player once and he goes, now batting, playing center field, Amos Otis. Correction, Amos Nixon.
So he had written down Otis and then has a brain cramp about whether that's first or last name.
Yes.
Maybe it's Otis Nixon or Amos Otis. Well, he was fantastic. He was just fantastic. Anyway, Trevor Hoffman. Yes. Sorry about the Caseyism.
No, I appreciate it.
But anyway, back to closer. I don't see it right now, but that doesn't mean I'm right about that.
So Eddie Rosario has been highly productive. I was looking up numbers yesterday. I was okay, we all have our perceptions of what people are and what they should be. I said, let's see who actually has been the best young Twins player over the last 3-4 years. And you look at Polanco, Sano, Buxton, Kepler, who are kind of the cornerstone young players here, who have all had good stretches in the big leagues. And among them, Eddie Rosario is the only one who's played 150 games in a season, and Eddie Rosario is the only one who's played 150 games in a season and hit 27 or more home runs. So obviously, Sano has had one season where he hit 28. In terms of pure production, Rosario has been their best young player.
And might forever and ever be their best hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, he has that kind of talent. There's no doubt in my mind for a one-time scout with the Twins to say that Eddie Rosario's got the best hands he's in the Twins organization he's seen since Rod Carew is a big statement.
Wow.
Can
you say who told you that, or is that a secret?
It's not a secret. I don't know who it was. Okay. It's a Dick Bramer story.
Oh, okay.
And Dick has told that on the air in my presence, and he may have said the name of the scout, and I don't remember. But someone that's been around, from Rod Carew through Eddie Rosario, and seen all of the players that have come through the system. But I concur with the sentiment of that. At least I don't know that you ever compare anybody to Rodney, but and I don't know that nobody else has ever had hands better than Rosario's. But I will say that Rosario is a special hitter. He has special hand action. We've talked on. Sometimes I get a little too mechanical on this show, trying to explain hitting in verbiage rather than pictures, and that's hard to do. But I will just say that the key to hitting is getting the 6 or 8 inches of sweet spot of the bat on a baseball that's moving at you, and in order to do that, you talk about hand-eye coordination, but the 6 or 8 inches of sweet spot is 2 feet out from your hand. So it's not direct hand-eye coordination. It's eye coordination with a hand that's moving something 2 feet away from you, trying to hit a spot that's 6 or 7 or 8 inches wide, and only 3 or 4 inches deep, if you will, on the barrel of the bat.
And of that, very little of it actually will produce what the desired result.
Right. And so then if you get exactly that spot and you hit just below the right spot on the ball, you get a pop fly, or just above the right spot, you get a hard ground ball and you're out. But my point is that Eddie Rosario's hands, when he swings at the pitch, his hands bring the big end of the bat to the anticipated contact point with the ball more efficiently than just about anybody I've ever seen. And that's what I think the scout was talking about. He's got these great hands. His hands and his swing combination move the big end through the hitting zone lightning fast and very efficiently, which those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had so much baseball to talk about. We haven't really done any of the fun little segments we do so often during the off season. Anything grab you from the world of pop culture and music lately? Movie, TV, music? Have you watched The Big Lebowski lately?
I haven't watched The Dude lately, and I really need to do that. I get a call about once every 2 weeks from a different guy saying, "Hey, when are we having a Lebowski night over at your house?" And we keep threatening each other, and we just haven't been able to pull that off. And it's harder for me during the baseball season because if I do get a chance to watch television, I'm watching the Twins play,
right.
and so no, I haven't watched any Lebowski, but it's on my list, and I'm just baseball guy right
yep.
now. I just haven't done a whole lot of culture. I haven't even listened to a whole lot of music that's certainly not new. I have recycled some of my favorites. You know what I was listening to today driving in? Okay, I'll tell you something that's somewhat new. I'm driving in today. From my house to here takes exactly the amount of time to listen to Boz Scaggs' "Loan Me a Dime."
Oh, wow.
And it's one of the great songs of all. It's like whatever that is, 15 or 16 or 17-minute song. But Dwayne Allman plays the blues guitars. I mean, and so, you got Boz Scaggs' voice, and it's just this wonderful blues song anyway. And Boz Scaggs does a fantastic job of singing it. And then Dwayne Allman's playing the lead bluesy guitar on it, and it's an older song, but it's one of my favorites. And the newness of it is that this past fall, Christy and I went and saw Boz Scaggs at the State Theater.
Oh, wow.
And he was fantastic. And he did. I'm just sitting there waiting, hoping. Against hope that he'll play "Loan Me a Dime," and of course, sure enough, as an encore song. Oh. It was either the last song he did or the first encore. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The whole night was. I mean, it was all the old commercial stuff, Lido and Harbor Lights. It's all fine. I listened to that all those songs a million times on the radio when I was younger. When Boz and I were younger. But it all pales in comparison to "Loan Me a Dime." You just have to know that song.
There's so many great artists who have had a hit that has defined them in the eyes of the general public, and who just if you know their stuff and you go deeper into their archives, it's like the hit that made them famous is the least of their accomplishments.
Exactly right. It's so much of the time. That's true. And I just had a conversation with my wife today. We were driving back from an appointment, and the old Rick Derringer song, "Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo," came on. And I said, "Did you know that this guy, Rick Derringer, was the guy that played slide guitar in your, Chrissy's, favorite and one of the few." She's not a Steely Dan fan. You know how Steely Dan's it for me, right?
Yeah.
And so, but he played the slide guitar in Showbiz Kids, which is one of my favorite, and it's her absolute favorite Steely Dan song. And she likes that, and Only a Fool Would Say That. And I said, yeah, but you like Reelin' in the Years, don't you? Oh, she said, oh yeah, I like
Steely Dan hates Reelin' in the Years.
Reelin' in the Years is just, I hate it. I mean, it was over listened to by me on the radio, all those years ago, but it's like number 170 of their songs.
Exactly.
And that's one of the songs that for my wife and many, define Steely Dan. And that's really a travesty. It's really too bad.
And my favorite, I'm looking up all my favorite Steely Dan songs. My Old School is my favorite.
Well, My Old School is just one of the great 3-part guitar licks ever.
Skunk Baxter,
Baxter. And he plays 3 separate little guitar riffs in between the lyrics, and each one gets successively better.
Yes.
And it's just so doggone good. But it's not my favorite because that's a little over listened to. But I wore that out myself.
Yeah.
I just over and over and over and over again. And so I am a Boston Rag and Don't Take Me Alive, and Pretzel Logic. I mean, the guitar riffs in those three, and then also Bad Sneakers. There's a guitar riff with piano. It's like almost a duet of this rocky ragtimey guitar and kind of raspy guitar.